Okay, so I'm reading this book. Well, not actually reading it. I'm on Audible, listening to a book that I got recommended, and that book is called 5 Laws That Determine All of Life's Outcomes. Now, it's an interesting book because when I looked it up on Amazon, it was $88 or $89. I was like, man, that's a pretty good book if it's that much. Now, it was out of print or it was hard to come by, so I think it was a secondhand copy. And I looked across at Audible, and Audible had it in their system. And I've previously been a customer of Audible. I like Audible a lot. And if you join up, then every month they give you a credit. And they had a special deal for me. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get this book. It was like $8.20 or $8.45 to join up again to Audible for 3 months. I'm like, great, I'll take advantage of that. So I acquire this book, and before we even get there, we should say, well, how did I even get recommended this? This was recommended through a business coaching program that I'm in. And they said, look, this book was one of the mentors for the coach of the program, and it's really good. And check it out. And I've only been through the first of the 5 laws and the introduction. Now, the introduction gave an overview of the 5 laws in terms of a parable about a hunter in Uganda or Nigeria or something like that. It was terrible drought and there was not much game. And this hunter was much more experienced than everybody else because he changed what he did. Previously, the hunting tribe had just done what had always been done, which was not really pay too much attention to the spear, not pay too much attention to how the throws went. And when game was plentiful, this was fine. But when times were difficult, this hunter had actually been driven not because of the expectation of difficult times, but rather because he didn't want to hurt the animals. He wanted to make sure that when he threw the spear, it killed the animal humanely. And so he invested into making himself a better hunter. And that meant a couple of things: being clear on what the target was, then studying how to get better quickly, learning quickly, trying different things. He invested time into making sure that all of his spears would have the chance, if they hit, to penetrate the animal. There's a couple more, but the first law is the law of vision. And this chapter was very interesting. I'll share it with you. So basically they're looking at average people or unsuccessful people versus successful people. And the chapter goes along to say that most people, when they're asked, what do you want? What do you want? Will be either vague about it. I want to be fitter. I want to be richer. I want to be whatever some vague term is for, I want to be more successful. Or if they're not vague, they will tell you what they do not want. I don't want to be obese. I don't want to struggle for breath walking up the hill. I don't want to have a relationship that doesn't have any sex in it. I don't want to live in an apartment in the city. I don't want. Now, he gives the wonderful analogy of, well, if you go to the travel agent and they say, hey, where do you want to go? And you say, well, I don't want to go to Los Angeles. Okay, you've eliminated one thing. That's great. But it still leaves the problem with maybe how many airports are there in the world? Maybe, I don't know, I think it's 1,700, something like that from memory. That could be totally wrong. But let's say it's 1,700. You've eliminated LAX. I don't want to go to LAX. Okay, well, that leaves 1,699 airports to choose from. Which one do you want to go to? And this idea of actually being willing to select what you want is one of the keys, one of the laws of success. That successful people know what they are going for. I'm going to make this much money. My weight will be this much by a deadline. And I was actually reading a different book. So I'm listening in the car. I've been up and down to basketball a bunch today. So I was reading a different book. I'm finishing up The Now Habit. I've had a terrible problem with procrastination for most of my life. One of the key things that they have suggested is to do 30-minute blocks, which reminds me directly of how I studied for the GP exams. That I would do 50-minute blocks. I would say, okay, I'm just going to study for 2 minutes, and then I would do 50 minutes. And it's the same thing with the procrastination, but this book's very, very good, The Now Habit. It's like, okay, well, before you start working, I want you to let go of the past, realizing the past is not the present moment, and I can't do anything about it. How about we let go of that? But also, let go in the past, also letting go of the future. Letting go of the future, what could be. Because often my mind will tell me stories about what could possibly happen if I do a Facebook Live, if I see that patient, if I, and it will stop me from doing things. And so let going of the past, because I can't do anything about it, let going of the future, because if my mind allows me to run my fears, I won't do anything. Letting go of the future and then coming to the now moments. And then beginning work for half an hour. Not 6 hours, not 4 weeks, but half an hour. And Now Habit suggests, hey, let's just do 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes with the knowledge that all things are accomplished by repetitively starting. 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes. If it's a 2-hour project, then it will require 4 30-minute starts. If it is a 300-hour project, like passing FRACGP exams, then it's going to require 600 half-hour starts. And how do you do 600 half-hour starts? By doing the first one, and then going again, the second one, the third one. And so all of this book's been very good. But as it came down to goal setting, it's like, hey, if you are able to move beyond procrastination and actually start setting targets that you're going for, i.e. being clear on where you are going, then it may be beneficial to phrase those targets clearly, specifically, with a deadline and defining how much it will cost you. Defining how much it will cost you. And this stood out to me as a powerful addition to my world, to my life. I'm like, hang on, okay. I can not only define what I'm going to do and when it will be done by, but what's the cost? And there's a couple of different costs. One is could be time. Could cost me time. Could cost me 4 hours. Could cost me 2.5 hours. Could cost me 12 hours. And if it's a big target, and let's say it's 20 hours, then I'm probably going to have multiple smaller targets that I hit over a number of days. I'm busy. You're busy. We got patients. We got families. We've got partners. We've got kids. We've got health. We've got our own spiritual practices. There's sleep. There's cooking. There's laundry. There's a lot on in our lives. And so being able to do 20 hours in a day is ridiculous. That's just not going to happen. So we're going to need to hit these over and over. Now, this is all built into a gamified system called The Way, the Warrior's Way. And this essentially overcomes a number of these problems. One of the big pieces is called the game. And the game involves looking at where you are now to get clear on where you are. If you want to go somewhere, you need to know where you are, first of all. And then from there, looking around at what's possible. Because if you are in a poor situation right now, your options for what can be achieved in 12 months are different from someone who has a body that's working, who has financial resources, relationships that are working, that's really happy, that has great resources. Those two people have vastly different options for what's going to go on. Now, does it mean that the first person with limited options will always stay there? No. No, it does not. They can progress. And in 12 months' time, they find themselves fitter, happier, better relationships, more money, more connections, more skills, and their options may still be lesser than that first person with the second person with everything going on, but they will now have a whole bunch of different options available to them. But from that position of knowing where to go, then looking out and saying, hey, this is what I'm going to specifically choose and commit to. And that can be a problem. Do you know why? Why is it a problem? Sounds easy. Choose this. I've got all of these possibilities. Choose this. Because in making that decision to go for that, you are eliminating all of the other options. You're eliminating the other options. And certainly if you're risk adverse or you want to hedge your bets, this is a very daunting consideration. Like, oh, I'm going to have to let go of A, B, C, E, F, and G in order to go for D. Or if I want to go for F, I've got to let go of A, B, C, D, E, and G. This is hard for many people. Again, because it forces them to choose for what they are going for. What is the vision? But this is the habits of successful people, that they choose to know what to go for. So the question for you, how clear are you? How clear are you on what you are going for over the next 3 months, 6 months, 12 months in your body? What about in your being, in your spirituality? What about in your balance, your relationship with your family, with your partner, with your siblings, with your parents, with your team, even with your patients? You might only consult with them occasionally, but how do you want them to respond to you? And this gets into the realm of business. Patients are obviously part of our business as doctors. And their experience before they see you, when they see you, after they see you, follow-ups, information provision. How established are they in knowing what to do? What if they've got a problem? How do they get their information? All of these business skills that come into medicine. So if you're interested in this, if you're like, you know what, I could actually commit to making a decision for what I want. In 3 months' time, I want this. If you are that doctor, then reach out to me at Facebook, go to Graduate Medicine, send me a message, and let me know what your targets are. Let me know what you want, what you're committed to, not what you're vague about and not what you do not want, but what you want. And I'll guide you on how to play the game to win and achieve that impossible game and achieve that vision so that your reality shifts. If that's something that interests you, head over to Facebook, send me a message. All right, that's all I got for you. I'm going to go hang out with my kids. It's been a big day today. Sun's just setting here. I got a new toy. Check this out. It's called a Boya mic. Very cool. Hopefully we'll check the sound in this one. And look forward to seeing you. As I said, if you want to learn how to play the game, then head over to Graduate Medicine, send me a message. All right, you have a great evening. Catch you next time.